How's it going? Jonathan here with Boston Collectors. As you can see, we're all getting our shipments in at the same time, so by the time you're seeing this, you probably already have her. This is a long-awaited piece for me, as many of you might know. For me, she completes the display for the chrome clones in my collection. As a heads up before we dive in, I recommend cleaning your hands or using gloves so that our outfit doesn't pick up on any form of grime. If that doesn't bother you, pay me no mind. Padme's part of the anniversary release for the Attack of the Clones, so her art box is indicative of the retro style design that a lot of us are familiar with. If this is your first time, you're in for a treat. If not, you're like the rest of us and you're ready to dive into the review. With that said, like this video for us and subscribe for more. Let's get into it. Out of the box, Padme's pre-equipped with a pair of relaxed hands. This might be one of those, yeah, we get it moments, but these are newly sculpted. The older feminine hands lacked a lifelike appearance, so these were a silent upgrade that wasn't really pointed out. The same goes for the fists, which we do receive a pair of. As for the right hand, she received one gesture compatible with her ELG-3A blaster. Outside of the natural appearance of the gesture, her blaster fits nicely without having to fight it in. It features a retractable function that makes it a bit more interactive for posing, although it's difficult to say if her blaster is chrome plated or chrome painted. When not in use, she can secure it in the plastic molded holster on her belt. For the final gesture, we have one right trigger hand for the E5 blaster. It's a secure fit and feels exact to the weapon's grip, down to the trigger placement of her index finger, and her thumb slightly curling for the grip. Hats off to Hot Toys, even if I wish both gestures did come in pairs. Her E5 blaster that was picked up on Geonosis shared the same paint application as the one we received with the battle droids previously. There's nothing new here, but great to have. As we prep her for the swap out garments, we'll need to remove her portrait. It isn't hard, but it is a bit stressful. Make sure to secure the body as you shimmy and pull her portrait up. We begin by covering the cloak. The fit isn't exactly the best, but hang tight and we'll show you how I futz with it. It isn't terrible, just not quite realistic. While wiring doesn't exist here, there's a bit of manipulation to be had, even if it isn't the best to look at. So today's sponsor is me, and the magnets I purchased a few years ago from Amazon. We need to identify how we want her cape to fall. I'd like it to hang over both of her shoulders with as much of a natural appearance as possible. This could take a minute depending on how you'd like her to look in your collection. Either way, the execution will still be the same as we place our magnets. This is about how I'd like it, but we'll need to pay attention to the extra garments in the back. It's focusing on what will allow us to magnetize the clothing without too much of a hindrance. I chose to begin with the immediate section around her shoulders for a better appearance to the fall. Combined with the crossover section, this is where the first magnet will be placed. It's not going to look pretty out the gate, so it'll require a bit more futzing. You have to admit though, it's already much better than what it was with just one magnet and no additional changes. However, we can't have her out here looking like this. The additional section overlapping the magnetized portion can be tucked in. It doesn't change anything from what we see from the front, so you could be done at this point if you wanted to. I just can't seem to help myself. I ended up going with one extra magnetized section for a better style. It makes her appear a bit more kept. For the headdress, we start by removing the hairpiece. This is friction fit, so you don't have to worry about any extra clicks or fighting to take it out. The headdress is a bit of a task. It does feature a magnet here though, to try to keep it together. With our prior adjustments, it's easy to feed it through some of the other sections of her cape. However, I'm just not a fan of this piece over her portrait. It's a bit too much work to futz with, and I still didn't get it to look right for me. Where there's a will, there's a way. I just couldn't muster the will. It's not for me, but I do like the caped appearance of her personally. If it isn't for you, you can remove it with the magnets attached and store it for safekeeping. As for her base, it's an all-new design replicating the old droid factory seen on Geonosis. It's meant to appear as metal, but this is a plastic topper secured to the base. She was also given a crotch grabber, unlike the waist clamps we typically receive. Well, that and a few diorama pieces to tie in the rest of the base. The smaller pieces are free-floating and fit around each of the grooves found along the front. I just wish they were magnetized. There aren't many accessories to give Padme for this release, but you all know how I feel about hands coming in pairs at this point. With her accessories out of the way, we can now dive into the portrait. Natalie Portman's likeness for Padme Amidala is present on the figure, but it does require us to search for it. Before we do, I want to acknowledge the paint application to her skin, makeup, and the ever so subtle hint of oil over her skin. With all of that combined, it brings her to life in a way that it wouldn't if it weren't present. Her hair sculpt is also beautifully designed and replicate a wavy appearance to her hair texture. And as we mentioned earlier, the hairpiece on the back can be removed in place of the headdress if you prefer using that style for her. This too is beautifully designed. There's a lot going on in this portrait that goes beyond just her standard likeness. The artist went so far as to include the subtle indentation down the middle of her forehead and moles in places that we aren't looking at to this extent. This is a master at work, and all of these details need to be noted before I give my opinion. I could only find her likeness in one angle, and that's what you all see here. Is it considered bad because we only see it from one side? Her facial features are obviously correct to see it this way, but I'm conflicted. Mighty Thor's likeness, in my opinion, looks better than this one, and it's by the same artist. I don't know if DH Technology rendered it this way or not, but it isn't 100% Natalie Portman to me. I find looking at the portrait from the top down is better than head on or looking up at her in the display. As we mentioned earlier, the process of taking off the portrait is a bit stressful. There's an exceptional amount of range in the neck joint and the adapter combined, but the neck mold is still stiff. The joint is too, as you'll see. It does make me wonder if they went without a magnetic joint because of the magnet pieces in the headdress though. We'll never know. For what it's worth, I think this is a cool feature. I'd feel a lot more comfortable though if the base of this were metal and the neck adapter piece remained as plastic. Rating this one is extremely difficult, to say the least. Since we normally do rate them in our reviews, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. Padme's clothes are to the point, so we won't take up too much time here, especially since it's all one piece, for the most part. Her boots are split cut, which is a huge plus for posing. They mimic leather, but they're molded in plastic with a bit of grime found throughout the grooves. Her pants have just enough wiggle room in them for comfort and mobility. The stitching is precise, and they also lead up to the pleather belt and molded pouches on her waist. More on this in a moment. For now, Hot Toys certainly took a few liberties on this one. The padding is sculpted in a way to resemble a backside that usually just appears a diaper. It's just unfortunate Captain America didn't get this kind of treatment. Doubling back to the pleather belt though, it's velcro to her suit at a few points seen here. I'd like to see Hot Toys upgrade the bodies for women to articulate and function equally as good as the male-presenting figures. She's stiff in the shoulders and can only articulate in her midsection from the chest and upper legs. A small word of caution for the rings around her arms. These are made of metal, and I'd suggest being careful when adjusting them on the figure. This could look ugly later on if you continue to manipulate them. Apart from that, the clothing design is really good and nailed the on-screen appearance in the film for me. Not to mention, the body's overall tightness in the joints feel incredible in hand. Phenomenal job, but I do think it's long overdue to provide better articulated bodies for women presenting figures. Kicking things off, we have R2-D2 from the Attack of the Clones. Next, we have the Geonosis Battle Droid, the Super Battle Droid, then we have Count Dooku. Ahsoka Tano's up next with her Clone Wars representation as seen at her funeral. Then there's Grandmaster Yoda. We also have her security detail being the Chrome Clone Trooper. Obi-Wan Kenobi is seen in Revenge of the Sith. And last but not least, Anakin Skywalker is seen in Revenge of the Sith. To summarize my thoughts, Padme's release is decent. The standout points for me are the sculpted hands and the detail work found throughout the portrait design. Although I do wish they gave us pairs for the trigger hands though. But I am happy to see they went the extra mile to quietly upgrade them the way they did. Padme's likeness might not hit at every angle, but the work that went into it is phenomenal to say the least. There are a few downsides though by way of the free-floating base pieces, the future stress of the neck joint possibly breaking, and the outdated design of the body. With all of that said, the downsides aren't deducting that many points for me. I'm giving the overall release a solid 8 out of 10. This isn't something you'd want to sleep on unless you're gambling on future Padme releases. I'm not the gambling type, so I'm glad I secured my copy of her. And with that, we have 2 more unboxings on the way. Darth Vader is seen in Obi-Wan Kenobi, and the Super Battle Droid is seen in the Attack of the Clones. Let us know which one you'd like to see next. Like this video for us, and subscribe for future content. This is Jonathan with Boston Collectors, and catch you next time.